Hello, welcome to the Together We F.E.E.L panel show. I'm coming to you from sunny Hollywood, California this morning. We're on the road doing some work, so I've got the palm trees in my background. I'm seeing the sun. I've come out of the fog blanket in the Central Valley of California. I know many of you are frigid and freezing and buried in snow and ice, and God be with you.
Amen.
May your power stay on, and may your hot cocoa and warm blankets be in abundance. Today, might be a good time to take on this activity today. Today, we're talking about the power of journaling, writing, and reflection. And we're going to get into some specifics about it today that I think could be really helpful to you in these practices that can really tap into your wellness. And this topic was inspired by our friend here with us today, Kim Mosiman, and the way she approaches her journal, and also that she's written, that I have right here in front of me. Oh, I got notes flying all over the place. So I've got all these things marked up. And then our friend Lexi Lee, who can't be here with us today, but she has a journal called the Peace of Me Journal. Peace, P-A-P-E-A-C-E, like the peace within you rather than pieces. And her journal has 15 prompts and 5 wellness exercises, as well as 100 lined blank pages. So it's really kind of a guide. Kim has this Wells and Betters page that I'm going to have her expand on here in a minute, what the thinking behind that was, how it gets you thinking in terms of these are my wins and these are areas I can move forward, rather than, oh my gosh, I suck at everything. What am I going to do? I mean, so it's really about that mindset. It's that we miss our wins so many times. And then we have authors Tara Mae Temple and Dana Diaz here with us today. Their writing is also very powerful, also been a very therapeutic tool for them and for others in what they've created. So we're going to hear from them and what has inspired their thought behind that. And the hope is that this can add, if you don't, journaling's not for everybody. I get that. There is power in getting words out of your head and calming your anxious thoughts. And maybe you do a verbal journal. There are times where I do a verbal journal and I just talk into my phone and record it and then go back later and take notes on it, just getting it out of my head. So our minds get so busy and they start swirling and they can run away with us at times. And we have these thoughts in there that sometimes we treat as truth that just need to be unraveled. They're just maybe thoughts that are stirring that we need to settle with, and some guided exercises within that can really help get our minds right. Or reading that thing that is going to get our attention of like, oh, I'm not alone in this. Someone else is having this experience. So welcome Tara Mae Temple, Dana Diaz, and Kim Mosiman here with me here today. You've all heard from these wonderful ladies before. They are veteran panelists with me here, as well as previous guests on my podcast. Kim, I want to start with you. Talk to me about how you decided to approach your journal, because journal is not a strong enough word. It really is. You call it my owner's manual, and it really is that. It really is a place to track all the things that are going on in our lives, not just our daily, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I need, this is what frustrated me, this is all the emotions, but also this is what my body's experiencing right now. These are the symptoms I'm having. These are the things that calm me. These are things that settle me, which can be a really powerful tool when you're going to see your therapist, when you're going to see your practitioner, when you're just trying to sort out what it is that's going on within you and within your body. So talk to me about what led to how you created this.
I owned a gym for a long time. I think I've established that I worked with people, and predominantly women in midlife. And sometimes after a baby, sometimes after menopause, whatever the case may be. And all of these women came to me wanting change, right? They thought, oh, I'll exercise and I'll starve myself and I'll change. And what I taught them to do is to move their body and feed themselves. And then they started changing. My owner's manual and the way that I started journaling came from noticing that as the coach, as their coach, I could see these fabulous changes happening. I could see all of the good that was being uncovered in their processes, but they could not. You can't look in a mirror and take a snapshot and go back and reference it 6 weeks down the road. And so through my work with them, it started to dawn on me that if we don't record things over time, we really don't know how far we've come, whether it's a picture or, in my owner's manual, I have monthly reflections. And I really tried to break it down so that you could reflect back. You could look back on what was going on in your life and you could be proud of yourself. Wells and Betters as such came to be after working in the restaurants. My tried to do kind of a cultural change in the restaurants when I worked there prior to the gym. And it seemed like the only time we interacted with our staff is when we wanted things to change.
Yeah.
And people don't always receive constructive criticism. So we started addressing every rush period with what went well and what can we do better. And it really transitioned nicely into my gym days. What did I do well this week? What happened? Maybe the scale didn't move, but my pants are bigger, all of these things. And so Wells and Betters has just become a way that I view my life now. I get tired of being not enough. And Wells and Betters allows me to continue to want change, but to appreciate life where I'm standing right now.
I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, Tara, you have a new book coming out, but writing has long been a part of your practice. Talk to me about how you figured this out, that this was powerful you, and some of the approaches you use, and then of course share the title of your book, and that will be linked in our show notes.
Yes, of course. I'm happy to announce that it's finally out, Life Hacks for Healing and Harmony, to help people, especially women, to achieve inner peace nowadays, because we have a lot of noise and chaos and toxic productivity around us. So this book actually started out as a journal practice for me, where I was just releasing all the bottled up emotions that I had since childhood. I was the type that wouldn't express myself. So I think it was about the year after the pandemic that I began to write my stories and everything that affected me. And I actually did not know at the time that these journaling entries was going to turn into a book. But as I began writing, it became more cathartic to me. And I could feel myself, like I've noticed a difference after a couple of weeks of, not projecting my emotions on, family or loved ones whenever I was frustrated about something. I left those expressing and purifying the toxic emotions on paper, and there was just something that was uplifting about that. So I didn't feel like I was carrying that baggage. So it really helped me release a lot of things through my healing journey. But what I wanted was, I noticed that a lot of these patterns and things that we carry as human beings, whether that be grief, anger, self-image struggles, like Kim was saying, not feeling good enough, having our self-limiting beliefs and all these things, these negative thought patterns. I knew that these universal themes affected all of us in one way or another. So I thought, why not use these journaling entries and create a story, start off with telling my story, and then make it into a self-help piece where people could apply some strategies to help them achieve more harmony in their lives, and then kind of illustrate how I did it. So it evolved into this thing, but really writing has a way of rewiring rewiring your subconscious mind and helping you to perceive things differently. Because when your thoughts are distorted in your mind, you can't see clearly, and like, you need to vent and get that stuff out. Like you said, the voice note of just speaking your mind and expressing your emotions, those need to come out, because they really have a way of settling into your cells and turning into the stress that later transforms into health issues. So as women, it really is a powerful tactic to use our journaling in different ways to help us through our struggles, and to find joy and see how far we have come. So yes, I highly encourage it. In the book, in each of the themes that I present in the book, I leave 2 journaling pages for the reader to just get out their thoughts about how they can help themselves, and what they'll practice, and what they've learned through reading that chapter.
Very powerful. Oh, so good.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Dana, you can wholeheartedly relate to a book out of your journal. Your journal, I would say, in many ways saved your life.
Yes.
Like, I'm not exaggerating at all. Dana's book, Gasping for Air, is our current book club book. It's not too late to jump in with us every Thursday at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern, to hear this wildly harrowing story that happened to this mighty woman. But talk to me about your journal and when that became a lifeline for you.
Yeah, well, I agree, first of all, with everything the other ladies have said, because I relate to every level of everything, so I won't add more. But I had always been, my nickname was the Word Girl, because from the time I was a little girl, this is in the prologue of Gasping for Air, I was in an abusive home, but I didn't get in trouble for humming or singing songs. So I would be obsessed with lyrics and music that I could sing to express myself, because otherwise it was pent up in me and I was suffering tremendously. And I had nowhere to turn to, because back then it was a domestic issue. Don't talk about it. And that's just what it was. So here I was in 2020, in the 24th, 25th year of my relationship with my ex-husband, who was also very violent and abusive, narcissistic in so many ways. And I had gone to attorney number 6 to file for divorce, because this time I was going to do it. And a week later, we were in the shelter in place for COVID. Mind you, he had planned to kill me. He was telling people he was planning to kill me. So yes, literally, I was terrified because of the things happening in the home that were being made to look like they could just have been a tragic accident. And I thought he might actually succeed in what he was doing. So I took actually a notebook. I'm one of those moms that was thrifty. I would keep all my son's notebooks at the end of the school year, tear out the used pages. And so I had this notebook from one of those piles that had like drawings from when he was 4 or 5 years old, or maybe 10. But there were blank pages. It was unsuspecting. So I started documenting the date and time, a brief explanation. This is what happened. This is what was said. This is what he texted me. And I hid this under the couch cushion in the basement, so that, God forbid, if something happened to me, I would hope that somebody would find this and know the truth about what was going on in the home. Because, in public and with family, nobody would ever believe me if I had said, some of the things that were happening. So yes, after that was all said and done, courts reopened, I got divorced. Hallelujah. Amen. My attorney said he's never congratulated anybody, but it was amazing. It was wonderful. We popped champagne. And then I went and took my journal, and I said, other people need to understand. It was about the relationship, but mine was also the mind-body connection, because I became ill with a rare lung syndrome. That's the scratchiness you hear in my voice, as a direct result of living in fight or flight mode for 40 years. So I wanted to relay that to people. Stress can kill you. You're not doing anything noble, staying for the kids or for your religion or for whatever it is. And that's when I went on to take these little journal blurbs and expand them. But it's fascinating to me that when I really got down to it, it almost was like one of those detective memes where you have the Post-it notes and you're connecting strings, because in your head it's swirling around. Melissa's heard me say, I feel like Linus with the little swirly ball over my head. But once it was down on paper, it's astonishing to me that I wasn't making certain connections and correlations, and even in my own behaviors and my own tendencies. And by the time I got around to writing my second book about my childhood, I looked at my first book. I said, holy crap, I'm 40. I'm in my late 40s at this point. And I'm like, I had no idea. I literally basically repeated my mother's life all over again, everything. And I had never realized that, even though I was living my life and I knew her. So it's all kinds of different things we can put together when it's on paper, when it's outside of us. And it's also good for our mental and physical health. And I'm a firm believer to this day. The first thing I do every morning is grab a notebook, go while my coffee's coming. I just write. And you know what? I'm not polite. I'm going to say crap about people. I'm going to be petty. I'm going to say nice things too and have gratitude. I call it free writing. Other people call it a brain dump. But you know what? It's my way of just getting it out of me, getting that anxious energy out, getting the bad energy out, putting it away and saying, okay, we're done with that. Now we're going to take some deep breaths, walk on the treadmill, get started with our day and go live an amazing life. Yeah. So that's where I'm with that.
I love that. So good. Thank you so much. I love the different angles that you all have come at with this here, because we all have our story and why this has been important for us. For me, it was so important to be able to write down the emotions I was feeling every day when I really got serious and really got into therapy and started really digging into my story, so that I could make space for them. So I could identify what was based on truth and what was based on a lie or a narrative that I believed is true. So I knew what my body needed that day in order to move this through and process this. It was just to give me a scope, like, this is where I'm at today capacity wise, and then look at my calendar and be like, do I have the capacity for what's in my calendar, or do I need to make some shifts? Or if I can't make shifts, if that's unavailable, how can I properly prepare myself to be as healthy and present in these moments as I can be given the situation? So we all have these important pieces. I'm going to go back to Kim. Any questions or thoughts for anything you've heard from any of our other panelists?
I guess my question would be, do you remember life before you journaled? And because we know how important it is. Like Dana, I do morning pages. I call them morning pages, but it's a complete dump. And sometimes it's something I've been stressing about, and sometimes it's a great dream or an idea. It could be any number of things. And I just pour it all on the page. But I remember before I did it. And I'm just curious if Tara or Dana remember, or Melissa, if you remember what life was like before.
That's a good question. I'll go first. I have kept a diary ever since I was a little kid. Like, I have diaries, and that was kind of, but I had gaps in adulthood where I didn't track that, and definitely did not have a capacity or understanding of where I was emotionally in those years I wasn't journaling. I would say, and I would come and go for me, like in these gaps based on time. Whereas now it's with me everywhere. And so for me, that's it. I'm so much more aware of where I'm at, and I'm not carrying around stuff that needs to be sorted out in my brain. And I notice the difference if I'm on vacation or whatever and life gets busy and I miss a day or two, I notice it. I notice it in my body that I haven't let some of these things out of me.
Tara, Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you, Dana, go ahead. Then we'll go to
I do have to probably take off after this, so if
Yeah.
it's okay, and Tara, and excuse me,
of course.
but it's just because exactly the same. It was since I was a little girl, but I went for, I want to say it was about 10 years, and it was probably towards the last 10 years of my first marriage, which incidentally, I agree, because I wasn't aware, I became more complacent and just felt like I was going through the motions just to keep the peace, stay quiet, stay in suffering, suppressing everything. My body obviously rebelled against me at that point. But it was the same situation as you. But it's so much better now that I can just have that release, get the energy out, get the feelings out, even because sometimes you just want to say the thing. Like, you don't want to be that person, but you're just like, no, you know what? I really need, this person needs to F off or whatever. It didn't bother me 2 days ago, but it's really pissing me off now that I think about it a little more.
Yeah.
But then you don't carry that resentment and that bitterness and that anger around and bicker and fight and pick fights with everybody else. You can just be done with it and say, okay, I said my piece, or at least, my notebook is my confidant. It knows all my secrets. It's there. It's done. I can move on. But it's a very good feeling to be able to go around and be aware. Like, yeah, I guess, it is good that I got it out, but I thought it didn't bother me when it happened, and then it did. And then I'm like, oh, if maybe I had to process it a little more. But we need to learn about ourselves in that way as well. But I want to say, to, like Kim said, to know where we are, because I even, I'm speaking very recently, something happened Saturday that didn't bother me, and then it did, and here we are. But I even said to my husband this morning, I said, but you know what? A year ago, 6 months ago, even, I might have cried and stayed in bed all day and thrown myself down the rabbit hole. And now I'm just like, it's annoying, and it irked me, and I have feelings about it, but the journal knows we're going to move on now.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. But
Absolutely.
I'm going to say goodbye to you ladies, if that's okay, so I can sign on to my other call. It was very good to see you.
You too.
It's good
And
to
everything
see you too.
about Dana's books will be in the show notes. Thanks for being with us.
Great.
I'll see you Thursday.
Thank you all.
Okay. All right, Tara, go ahead.
Yes, I actually do remember life before all this writing and journaling and all this, and I have to tell you, I don't want to go back because, as Dana had mentioned, you kind of go live your life kind of on autopilot. You're numbing everything that's bothering you. I lived with like intense anxiety for many, many years. And was going through identity crises and all this stuff with, kind of adjusting to new motherhood and all this different stuff. But I noticed, like, when I did not have the, awareness or understanding of all these feelings that were going through me, and I didn't have an outlet for it, I was just living a life where I was numb and I was not joyful. I was very fearful and didn't know a way to express myself or even find the words to articulate what I was feeling. So I remember when I was 16, I would write journals about what would happen during the day and what my hopes were and all this stuff, but I did not know how to journal about my emotions because they were so bottled up. But I think with the pandemic and COVID-19 happening, was a blessing in disguise for me, because at the time we had made a lot of big changes and moving out of the city, and then I was going through a self-discovery process of learning to voice what was going through my mind and all the things I've gone through. So yes, once I did find that, that therapy of journaling before this book actually became a book, it was really like a lifesaver for me, in terms of, just cleansing and releasing all of the heaviness. So yeah, I'm glad that I found that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the wells and betters is a big piece of what I do now. You know, I knew this when I was running the gym. I knew to tell other people, but then when I closed the gym and I lost my sense of purpose, I kind of spiraled. And even though I still journaled, everything I journaled was poor me, poor me. Oh my gosh, look at the scale. I know better. And it was just this constant berating of myself. But when I put the practice back into place, and even though I may mumble and grumble about the things that don't go well in my journal, I really strive to also include a piece of gratitude in every day. And sometimes you have to search for it. You know, sometimes it means turning to my Bible and just like writing some scripture to have something positive in the pages. But I do believe that our lives begin to manifest what we're constantly thinking of. And if everything is negative, and if everything is focused on what could be better, we don't really move forward. And so, gosh, I just really would encourage people to search for the wells, because something went well today, every day.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah, I know. That's something that I started doing. It's been about a year ago now that I consciously did. Like I kind of, it worked it out on its own most days, but this was a conscious effort of my therapist was like, one win, not because you're beating up on yourself, but more so because you get to that thing you were trying to do or accomplish or be or become or whatever. And then you just are like, okay, that's great. Got there. Now what? And you don't pause to celebrate the win, or you don't even necessarily see the win in it. And our friend Erin Copeland pointed out to me one time after I had finished writing the online course that I created in 2025. And the online course was finished. Kim was part of that process with me. And I was putting it out in the world. And Erin's like, what are you doing to celebrate that today? I'm like, well, no one's bought it yet. And she's like, you created this whole magical thing that's going to help so many people that, and Erin and Kim were both on my beta team for that. They were part of that process. She's like, and it was, I'm like, you are right. I did. Like, I created something I had no concept 6 months earlier that was even in me that I was going to create. And that's a win. That creativity was in me and came out, and I was able to manifest this thing and put it out into the world to share with people. And so the things that are wins, sometimes we just completely miss. And so it's just been such a great 2025 was really a great year for me to start recognizing those little wins. I mean, I'll share a win. So this was my win on Friday. I did not cancel my hair appointment to accommodate a last minute meeting that my gender and leadership group had put into play that I didn't know about. And if I canceled my hair appointment, I would not be able to get in again for 3 or 4 weeks. And 2 to 5 to 7 to 10 year ago me would have been like, well, I'll just have to wait. I got to go to this thing. I didn't have to go to this thing. And it turned out it was 4 mentors and mentees to get together. My mentee couldn't even go that day. So if I had canceled that, and because I wouldn't have, old me would not have even reached out to her to see if she could go. I would have just assumed I got to be here. I would have canceled it for nothing because she couldn't even be there that day. But I didn't even have to get there because I'm like, no, this has been in my calendar for 8 weeks since my last hair appointment. This is important to me. It's part of how I take care of myself. I'm not canceling that. And it all ended up working out great because she couldn't be there anyway. And even if she could have been there, I still was not abandoning myself. And something like a week or 2 from now, I've been like, I can't believe I did that. My roots right now are fried and I'm at all these events and this is ridiculous. So I chose me. I didn't abandon myself in the terms of putting my needs or my things that are part of my care on the back burner to accommodate a last minute thing. So that's an example of a win. So that was my win for Friday. So and there's little victories in that when you can look back and build those up over time, because let's face it, these last 2026 is off to a humdinger of a start in a big way here in the US, and it is tough here emotionally and mentally right now, and very anxiety inducing and very upsetting, and a lot happening. So it is even more imperative that we take the time to sit down, parse out what's true versus what's thoughts or narratives to us, how it's impacting us, adjusting how much we can take in at a time, and using these pages to write about it, let it out, and pull out those wins. I can't say enough about that.
Mm-hmm.
I really do agree with that, Melissa and Kim, that, like some people have trouble celebrating the little wins, and I know the wins sail by like a ship, and they go by, everything happens in a blink of an eye, right? But if we could just be present and ground ourselves, and pat ourselves on the back, because not all of us receive that, acknowledgement from our close loved ones to recognize all the amazing work that we're doing in the world. So if you can give yourself that love and acknowledge yourself and celebrate your little wins, you just feel so much better in your mind, body, and soul. And especially now, it's important for everybody's self-esteem to be able to do that for yourself. So I just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, we're responsible for our own happiness. No one else is responsible for it, and recognizing those little wins is part of that. Tara, did you have any more questions for Kim based on what you heard from her?
Yes, I was curious to know, like, when you released this book and you had your journaling exercises in it, did you ever come across any readers that came to you and like said to you, oh my gosh, like this has really changed my life, or like if I hadn't have got my hands on your book, my life would have looked very different? I'm just curious to know.
It's funny you asked that, because I was just thinking, as authors, right, and creatives, which we all are, and helpers, we give so much of ourselves, and it's hard sometimes when we don't see our books soaring to the top of the New York Times bestseller list, or even getting accolades. It's very difficult to stay positive. But in response to that, I have to tell you, I know several people who have used my owner's manual that love it, and but I have, with my first book, with Reflections of Joy, just a fun little story. I had gone away to a conference with my coaching partner, and had a really great conference. You go and you get filled up, and you come home and you've got all these ideas. And I was approaching the year anniversary of Reflections of Joy, and so I was sitting on the plane, and I was scrolling through and getting ideas, because I was going to do a giveaway and I wanted to post every single day. And just as we were starting to tidy up on the plane, there was a tap on my shoulder, and the flight attendant was there, and she said, my book was turned upside down, so you could just see the back cover. And she said, oh my goodness, are you reading that book? And I said, yeah, why do you ask? And she said, turn it over. Yes, that's it. I love that book. That book has changed my life. And I looked at her like I was dumbfounded, because of course I knew people who had read my book, but not strangers, right? And we all know that strangers will read our words. And I said, oh my goodness, that's my book. And she looked at me, and she looked at the cover, and she's like, oh my gosh, I said, you just made my day. And she's like, oh, no, you changed my life. And it was at that moment where I'm trying so hard to hold my stuff together, right, and not cry on this woman, that I realized that if only one person, right, she's my one person.
Yes.
And so even though we know writing is lonely, and coaching is lonely, and podcasting is lonely, we're helping people, right?
Yes.
We have to include that in our well bucket, right?
Yes.
In our positive.
Oh yeah. I love that, because nowadays, like, you see readers commenting online about, all different things, books, TV, podcasts, and all this different stuff. But to have that person, to see that person you touched her, helped change your life in person, face to face, that must have felt so good to know that. Yeah.
And even better when it's a
Share.
stranger. I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes any sense, but yeah.
No, I get that, because there's not, they read it not out of obligation or just trying to support you. Like,
Yes.
even if you felt like they needed your book, they still were like, there was a loyalty there that was behind it. Whereas
Yes.
the stranger, they have no investment in you in terms of, they have no history with you. So whatever you're getting from them is just purely what they got from that. And I think that is a huge impact.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah, that's so
I
good.
can't wait for you to feel this, Tara. It's coming.
Oh, thank you. I hope
Yeah.
so. Yeah, that's my hope, is just if it could help somebody in one way or another. That's what lights me up. It's not about the money. It's about the impact and the hope that it brings. Yeah.
Every time
Yeah.
I travel, I leave one book behind in the airport. Some
That's a
street
good
food, I mean,
idea.
just someplace. I just drop
Oh,
one,
okay.
hoping that someone will stumble on it. And
Oh, I love that idea.
That is so
It's like,
smart.
yeah.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah. I think, and whoever is meant to pick it up is really, it's destined to be.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
I'm writing that down
Yeah.
everywhere you go. Okay, well, as we wrap up here, because I think we've touched on all the highlights for this, I really wanted to hit on the power of this. Any last thoughts? Tara, we'll start with you. You'd like to leave with our listeners today.
Yeah, I just want everybody to know, like, you don't need to live your life in inner conflict or chaos around you, where you're allowing the outside external world and people around you to dictate your life. You are in the driver's seat, and I want you to know, like, if you're ever looking for answers about what direction to go in your life, look within. You'll always have that intuition and inner voice that will be speaking to you, and your heart will know what your purpose is and what path to take. There's always an answer to your very big problems, but I encourage you to connect with nature, the divine, and yourself. And a starting point can be writing down your emotions to discover what it is you're really feeling and what direction you want to go in your life. That has brought me so much harmony, and I could tell you that I was a complete mess before I discovered all this writing, and being stuck in your emotions and fearful of life and not living life to its fullest extent, you're robbing yourself of what's left of your life. And we all know that things can change in an instant. So I encourage you to do a self-discovery, pursue your joy in harmony, and it really does start with reading books and listening to podcasts and just writing everything down, because there's ways you can repair relationships and repair the way you think about your own self. You can always improve your personal growth in different ways, but you have to start slow and be patient and compassionate with yourself. So if anyone is interested in learning more through different stories of everything us women and people find difficult in life, this is your book that can be found on Amazon, and I invite you to come read it. And I assure you that you can find comfort in the words in this book, especially now with everything happening, and we're pretty much in the future, and we don't want AI to take over our lives too much. We still want to remain human, and this is a true expression of our humanity and how we can help others and ourselves and just be happy in our relationships and in our lives.
Yes. Thank you. So good. Congratulations. So excited for this.
Thank you so much.
Kim, how about you?
don't be afraid to change, but keep appreciating what you're doing, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
Melissa, I don't want to steal yours, but look for a win in every day.
Yeah.
Something you did something well, not just something that happened to you, but something that you created. There's something
Yeah.
good that
Yes.
you did in every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So good. I think my last thought is twofold. It is one, you don't have to be a writer to journal. Yes, we have all talked about the power of that, and many of us here have taken that to inform journals and books we've created. But you don't have to. No one gets no. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There doesn't have to be punctuation. There doesn't. It's for you, to guide you and direct you and give you a space. The other thing I'd say is I really encourage using your pen and writing on paper versus it. I mean, if your phone is the way you put it in your phone, notes in your phone or on your laptop in your Google Doc works for you, great. But there's something about using a pen and writing it down. There's a literal science behind how this connects with our brain and our minds and how we learn and take things in when we actually write. So I would encourage, those are the two thoughts I want to leave with you today. Thank you to my wonderful panelists. All of your information is going to be in the show notes on how to get a hold of these great resources you have and to follow you and find you. Just remember this last thing: you are valuable, you are worthy, and you get to choose. You get to choose. What happens to you happens to you. You get to choose how you respond to that. Even if those are things that you didn't have control over, there's always a choice within. Don't let yourself go on the back burner. Make sure that choice involves choosing you. Take good care of yourselves and have a great week. We'll be back next week with another Come As You Are panel. So we'll join us then. But thank you so much. Take good care, and we'll see you next time here on Together We F.E.E.L.
Bye.
Bye.